Don't worry about the title, no Piccolo and evolution talk here. For now. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Tomorrow, May the 9th, is a birthday for a certain Dragon Ball character that you might know about. A character whose presence in the show cannot be denied. A character who is so popular and so much loved in the fandom. Okay, yeah, it's Piccolo. I mean, you can see from the title and the picture here. Why am I even trying to add mystery? But seriously, I had quite a few requests to talk about Piccolo on his birthday, and I wasn't really quite sure what to talk about exactly. There's just so much. But then I hit upon the idea of discussing the entire character. The evolution of Piccolo is a long and winding road, but it's quite possibly one of the most interesting, compelling, and fulfilling journeys of any character in Dragon Ball. For those of you who might have missed the original Dragon Ball and just went on from Z, you missed one of the most interesting and most intense rivalries unfold before you. Arguably more intense than the one between Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Piccolo, both King Piccolo and his son Piccolo Jr. The being that we know as Piccolo was the reincarnation / offspring of the Demon King Piccolo, who was once himself an offshoot of the nameless Namekian, who's now named Katas thanks to Xenoverse 2, who then became the heavenly being that we now know as Kami. Confused yet? Well, the only thing that you need to know is that King Piccolo was one bad guy. In fact, that was Toriyama's original mission statement for the character, something to help push Dragon Ball towards its ultimate endgame. With all the villains up to that point, there was always something likable about them. So Piccolo Daimo was born from me trying to create a truly bad guy. That period was the most interesting to draw. From the get-go, Piccolo was intended to be Goku's most ultimate test, to see how the young boy could handle himself against one of the show's most notorious enemies. Pilaf? Puh, just a jumped up squirt with an obsession for power. The Red Ribbon Army? Puh, just a faceless conglomerate like all the others who just so happen to have a buttload of military technology. Monster Carrot? Yeah, okay, he's pretty evil. Those carrots, man, they're nasty. Piccolo was on a whole other level. What we would later find out to be just pure evil and tyranny extracted from another Namekian, just so that said Namekian could ascend to the role of the Guardian of Earth, what we know as Kami. Despite Kami eschewing himself of all his evil ways, he is still connected to the demon. He couldn't escape his inner demon, and now they rock purple pants. For the longest time though, King Piccolo was locked inside a deadly, powerful, intense rice cooker, which was provided by Master Roshi's old master, Mutaito. But good old Pilaf had to just go in there and muck things up and throw the world into absolute chaos for the better part of a week. You can tell that Toriyama absolutely loved coming up with the Piccolo arc. How? Well, think about it. Dragon Ball, for the most part, had been pretty insular when it came to the fate of the world up to this point. We were getting into a traditional pattern of having an action-packed arc, which was relatively inconsequential to the fate of the whole world. Then we get a Tenkaichi Budokai, which would pit all the characters that we just met against each other. And then we get another action-packed arc. It had become pretty predictable. Until Pilaf opened that damn rice cooker. All hell broke loose. Literally. For the longest time, King Piccolo was meant to resemble the devil of the Dragon Ball world. Much more grandiose than just being a simple slug dude. The world government and the safety of all of its inhabitants were thrown into absolute jeopardy. This was a complete change of mood. It takes conviction and passion in order to make such a big tonal shift in your story. You have to like the characters that you are presenting in this arc for it to be pulled off well. Luckily for us, Toriyama's favourite characters are Goku and Piccolo. Having his two favourite characters duking it out with each other at certain points throughout the rest of the series was his absolute dream scenario. Toriyama is very obvious when he doesn't care about a particular character or a story. They're either just pushed into the background when they're done, either killed off or just sent away for no absolute reason, or he just forgets about them. If he loves them though, oh boy, he's gonna show us just how much he loves them. He is also more likely not to plan ahead as much, and instead just let the natural plot just take its course. In that regard, you could say that Piccolo and Goku share a similar background. Both of them were aliens who weren't aware that they were aliens for the longest time. For Goku, it was pretty much all his childhood. For Piccolo and Kami, it was centuries. Over that time, the memories of the old Namekian would have probably disappeared, as well as throwing amnesia into the mix. Daizenshu 4 emphasizes this, as Toriyama explains. I didn't think of Piccolo's background at all. The Saiyans were like that as well. When I thought up Goku's tale in the Ozaru, I didn't think Goku was an alien or anything. Piccolo either, because I thought that up when God came out. Mostly afterwards, I thought it through so that it would be consistent. For example, there's the chair that Planet Namek's eldest sat in. that was mostly the same as the chair that Piccolo Daimo had sat in when he first appeared. It was just missing the skulls. I thought since Piccolo Daimo surely still had some memories of when he was on planet Namek, wouldn't he make that kind of chair? So I thought up the shapes of planet Namek's buildings and spaceships using the design of Piccolo Daimo's chair. When they went to planet Namek, I was told that you fail if you went into space in a shonen manga, so when thinking up the background for planet Namek, I tried to make it precisely consistent. So despite Piccolo and Goku not remembering their alien origins, certain aspects of said origins actually came to the surface for both of them. They just didn't know it. To them, they just thought it was unexplained or just plain weird. Mind you, the Dragon World is a pretty weird place, so what might be weird to us might not be weird to them, because remember, there is a dog as king and dinosaurs roam free across the land, and they make a tasty snack. Piccolo and Goku were responsible for Toriyama getting a handle about where he was going to take the series from that point onwards. Once you fight Earth's equivalent of the Devil, then there's not much else you can do on this planet. You can't really top that off, you really have to look into space. King Piccolo's son, Piccolo Jr, would join Goku in their quest outward to the stars. Once he could get over that whole avenging his father motif. That all began to change though, right at the point when Goku spared Piccolo at the end of their fight at the right end of Dragon Ball. Piccolo Jr. at that time was like a caged animal, desperate to seek revenge for his father who died at the hands of Goku, or more like his head. He didn't hold back throughout that fight and stopped at nothing. To Piccolo Jr., world domination didn't matter. The only thing that did matter was killing Son Goku, that stupid, now tailless twerp who bested his own devilish dad. Piccolo Jr. was a very impressionable soul, and for the duration of his youth, he continued to be so. Goku's act of kindness and mercy was probably something that Piccolo had never experienced before. It was new to him, and it left a mark on him. An impression, you might say. But since he had never experienced it before, he was frustrated at how he didn't know about it, and then quickly disappeared to lick his wounds and try and figure out what the hell just happened. He probably just went into the wilderness looking at MySpace or Spacebook or whatever. But it left an impression though. You might not think about it, but Piccolo Jr. didn't just stay the same way between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. During that 5-year time skip, he did change. In Dragon Ball, he was a vicious killer. But at the beginning of Z, when faced against a bigger threat, he actually came to the conclusion that he had to work together with his greatest enemy. Work together? That wasn't in his father's remit of, avenging him. It just went all downhill from there. Or should I say uphill, because we want Piccolo to be a good guy, so yay for us. Everything changed when Piccolo took Goku's son Gohan by force. Over the 12 months that spanned between Goku's death and the Saiyans arriving on Earth, Piccolo was responsible for taking care of Gohan, the son of his arch nemesis. A bit unexpected, but hey, Toriyama is unpredictable. During that year in Dragon Ball Z, one of the biggest fan notions and one of the most endearing parts of the series for most fans is the fact that Piccolo became pretty successful as a dad. Toriyama somewhat agrees about this in a roundtable discussion he did with Masako Nozawa and the series organizer of Z, Takao Koyama. I was once asked, when I went to a lecture, "Were you the model for Piccolo, Koyama-san?" I said, "What? No, but I suppose I might resemble him a bit. Piccolo was able to get all the best parts. What I mean by that is, Piccolo was easy to write. That's because bad guys becoming allies is always the best thing. Goku isn't interested in child rearing, probably. He's completely unqualified to be a father. He doesn't even have a job. Goku wants nothing other than to get stronger, and it feels like he doesn't have any other instincts. So he shows absolutely no interest in things he's not interested in. I bet he wouldn't have any interest in marriage either." You see? Toriyama never intended for Goku to be a good father, which was now thanks to his Saiyan instincts as well as his own sense of selfishness and naivete and innocence. And single-mindedness. Somebody had to take care of Gohan during that time. Why not Piccolo? This plot device set things in motion for Piccolo to grow, both in strength and in character. No longer was he a killer, he was a teacher and a guardian. The evolution was slow, but it was there. Pretty mixed. Sure, he sacrificed himself to save Gohan, which should not be discredited, mind you, but he still isolated himself from the good guys, even in death. While he was on King Kai's planet with Tenshinhan, Yamcha, and Chaozu, he kept himself to himself and didn't take part in the training. He was very isolated. On Namek, when he got there at first, he was still pretty indifferent. Until he met Nail. Nail then appealed to Piccolo's lust for power and strength. You could say that Piccolo was straight up tricked. He was worried about losing his personality, his sense of self. Nail assured him that, "Nah, it'd be fine, you'll keep your personality." Sucker. The Piccolo that we got after his fusion with Nail was a much more compassionate individual. The empathy and kindness he gives towards Dende, his fellow Namekian, is really palpable and obvious. That wouldn't have happened with the original Piccolo. That could have only come from Nail. Yep, Piccolo got played, son. When we get to the Cell arc, Piccolo's evil ways are really being eroded away fast. He can sense this and he feels conflicted. This evil nature had been with him since birth. This was pretty much the thing that made him him. And then to just suddenly not have it anymore would probably lead to an existential crisis, which is exactly what happened when he went to go and see Kami after 17 and 18 first showed up. This was going to mean a lot. This was going to mean that the nameless Namekian, Kyotas, thanks to Xenoverse 2, would be rejoined after 500 years of separation. The plot was literally going full circle. Kami and Nail exerted their own personalities with Piccolo's persona, and what we got at the end of it was a true paragon of the series. Someone who is willing to fight to the death for planet Earth, someone who is a kind and willing mentor, as well as somebody who's really skilled at the ways of martial arts. All the while maintaining a level of realism and pragmatism which is rarely seen in Dragon Ball. Most of the characters are hotheads or completely off the wall. Somebody had to come in and be shrewd and just real. It actually rubbed off a little bit on Gohan, come to think of it. So on this, the eve of his birthday, I just have this to say. Happy birthday, Piccolo. I'm so glad that not only did you find your name, but you found a new home. Have a good one, sir. So what do you guys think? Do you like Piccolo as a character? Is there a particular moment of his that you enjoyed throughout the series? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later.